What's up, everybody? This is In the Pocket, where we talk about the things and people around sports that you want to talk about. That's Maestro, and I'm Big Bob. Maestro, how are you doing today?
Doing great. Happy Thanksgiving there, big brother. It's always a great day when the turkey's dry and the stuffing is moist. No, that didn't come out right. You know what I meant to say. Hopefully everybody
you,
had a wonderful day.
you just had probably 75% of the people that thought they were going to listen to this because you said the word moist. They're done. They're gone. So thank you for running this into the ground before we even got started.
You're welcome.
Oh, but yeah, just again, I want to thank everybody. We want to thank everybody for their questions.
Yes.
You guys are the reasons that we do this, and you guys giving us the questions to listen to the things that you want to hear, to listen to us talk about the things you want to hear. We greatly appreciate it. We are recording this on Thanksgiving. I'm gonna upload it the next day. But yeah, just real quick before we get into the questions, did you have any thoughts on those Thanksgiving Day games today, Maestro? I know we at this point we saw Green Bay finish off the Lions. We saw Dallas take down the Chiefs. Yeah, any quick hits on those?
I'm gonna say this right up right now. Even coming down to how Cincinnati handled the Ravens, right? What I'm noticing now at this particular point in the season, it seems like the teams that are playing capable have their legs underneath them, and the games are good to a certain point. You can tell who's done the most film work, who's done the more classroom work. We're going to talk about that in a little bit later about somebody else. But I think what was really cool about today, despite the the upping of the amping of the energy around the games, that for the most part, with just few exceptions, all the teams are playing much cleaner, and the teams in the positions that they're in, they should be playing, including, and I'm going to say it, please forgive me, Dallas. They actually played really well against the Chief, and they found a way to, stick that wooden stake through their heart. And in the game now, and unfortunately now for everybody else, if the Chiefs start playing like a wounded animal, which you started to kind of see that a little bit today, it's not going to bode well for the rest of their division and league. But we'll see what's going to happen. But I loved it. What about you?
You know, I apologize, everybody. I know that you probably heard some noises there on my end.
Hey now.
I, I, like most of America, would have loved to see the Dallas Cowboys lose. Um, I mean, but the Chiefs, they shot themselves in the foot. So
Yes.
many easy drops throughout the game that I was
Yes.
shocked that could have busted that game wide open for them. We had Kelsey had a drop that it blew my mind that he dropped it. But I mean,
So uncharacteristic.
it was very uncharacteristic. But speaking of uncharacteristic, Adam Thielen to the Vikings, I mean, he's dropped every single thing that's been thrown to him, and he's one of the most sure-handed receivers in the league. So I guess I can't be surprised at anything. But this isn't about my Vikings and my willingness to continue to be a fan of them. Anyways, yeah, I'm glad you brought up the Bengals. I didn't mention them. The Bengals dismantled the Ravens today. Um, I really thought that I really thought Detroit had a chance there. I mean, they did have a chance,
They did
but
have a chance. They
they
did.
had the chance. They got that. They the Packers just got that lucky luck. I'm not even going to call it lucky. It was a great catch. Dak Prescott tossed that
Yes.
one up on 4th and 3, and they came down with that crucial fourth down conversion that ended the game. The Lions are still in it. The Lions are still going to they're still going to make the playoffs. But the Packers,
Jordan Love. I'm sorry you
I
said that. I think you said Dak Prescott. I don't know. I'm old.
oh, I'm sorry.
Guys,
Did I say
check this
Dak
out.
Prescott? I did. I probably did because I was thinking Cowboys in my head. I wanted to talk about the Cowboys. Well, I don't want to talk about the Cowboys, but but yeah, Jordan Love. I don't know how I feel about him still, but he is doing exactly what the Packers need him to do, and his 4 touchdowns
Yeah.
today is exactly what they needed. But
Do
yeah,
you believe in a prophecy? Do you believe in a prophecy of the Packers and what everybody's saying about them?
which
The whole thing about
prophecy?
him. So the whole thing of him being 27, Um, and my and
Let me
Parsons
guess. Was
coming.
Brett Favre 27 when they won the Super Bowl?
Brett Favre was 27. They had just signed Reggie White. Aaron Rodgers was 27, and they just signed somebody. What's his name? The guy from the Lord mercy,
Jesus? No,
no, not Jesus,
you
his
said
brother.
Lord
No,
Mercy.
I'm just joking. From Tom Brady, the Phantom Throw, the his teammate from Michigan. Oh my goodness,
Charles
it's killing
Woodson.
me. Thank you.
There you go. Sorry,
So
you just had to bring the Michigan thing is what got it for me.
th-
So
thank you, and everybody, please forgive me. It's not that I had too much turkey. It's probably didn't have enough turkey. So I apologize for what I just put you through, being inside my mind and watching all the hamsters fall out at the same time. But yeah, and oh, by the way, going back to even Bart Starr with whatever signing they had with him back when when they signed a defensive player. So everybody's saying the prophecy is for the Packers, quarterback at 27, the year they sign a significant defensive player is the year they win a championship. So that's the prophecy. So we'll see what's going to happen with that.
yeah, I mean that Micah Parsons trade was crazy for them, and he's doing a
Uh,
whole lot for that defense, and he's making Jerry Jones look
he's doing work.
terrible.
Yeah. Oh, he's doing work, man.
He
And
is.
and oh, by the way, speaking of which, and I know we're going to get into this a little bit later. When you have a player like that, and we talked about it a little bit, like when I was talking about my favorite, not my favorite player, but the player that I thought was made the difference for all those Patriots teams was Vince Wilfork, right? Michael Parsons is that kind of person, and he plays positionless defense.
Yeah.
Because think about, I don't know if our fans know this, but when he came in the league, I believe he was a linebacker. And please correct me if I'm wrong with that, but I believe he was a linebacker, and he moved to but he also flexed. He flexed between being a linebacker and being an end. And now you can put him anywhere, just so athletic, so fast, so strong,
Yeah.
so powerful, so amazing.
Yeah.
But anyway,
I mean
yeah.
but that's how when he came to Penn State, he came out. He came out as a defensive end. They moved him back to linebacker. They kind of mixed him around a little bit, but
I
he
thought
really,
so.
really showed as a linebacker. We might as well go into. We might as well just go into this topic. I was going to use it as our last topic, but it was a topic that me and Maestro came up with. We did get a couple requests, which we are going to get into, but this season, Micah Parsons kind of ties into it because he did set a record because we make up records for everything. But we did want
Yes.
to talk about the sack record this season, which let's jump before we jump to Myles Garrett. Micah Parsons, he set the record for it was I think he's had 12 sacks in his first 5 seasons, and no player has
Right.
ever done that since sacks have been recorded. I mean,
Right.
this is a guy that he is a menace all over the field, and
And who,
he has that
by the way, who did
sideline.
he surpass? Who did he surpass? Reggie White.
Well, as you say, Reggie White, yeah.
Yep, Reggie White.
Um, he has that sideline to sideline speed. He can cover tight ends. He can cover probably most receivers. I'm not going to say he could cover a Tyreek Hill, but he is a fast guy, and he's a big
Oh
guy.
yeah.
But
Yeah,
he's
yeah.
that guy that you can throw down defensive end, linebacker, probably throw him back at safety if you really need him to. You can put him in at running back. Throw him in at running back. Let him return some kicks, something, anything. But he is a guy that he absolutely dominated today. The block that he or the sack that he got to set that record for most 12 sack seasons to start a career. His defensive line they helped him out significantly. They blew
Oh
up that
God.
right side of the line, and I think there was at least two pancakes on there. I do believe somebody ended up
Oh
getting
yeah.
injured on the Packers
Yes.
defensive line, unfortunately. But they absolutely dominated that defensive line on that play for him to get that record. But yeah, well, kind of off topic. How do you feel about these records that we make records up for everything? It's like, oh, his first again, it is significant, but first 5 seasons he's had more 12 sacks. He's the only player to have 12 sacks in every season, the first 5. It's like he's done this in 2 games, and no other player has ever done this in a 2-game stretch. Like, at some point, can we really take them seriously, or are they just like, I mean, it's just talking points. How do you feel about that?
Well, man, oh God, bro, you suck because I just this is something that just it irks me in a different kind of way. Do okay, yes, there are talking points, and yes, I think in some respect, I think they're needed for like the total nerd out geek that's going to go into the
Yeah,
whole
yeah,
sabermetrics thing, and they want to know all this stuff, right? You know, how fast is their first step? How fast is their
yeah,
whatever? And I was kind of thinking about this as we were talking about. So I promise I'm going to answer your question. And by the way, everybody, we made a promise we're going to be fast by our standards tonight. So
yep,
Maestro
yep,
will
yep,
not
yep.
go. So so Maestro will not go on his old guy at the table rants where we're putting my teeth so I can tell you about the time me and Moses play pickup ball, right? So okay, we go. With all the information that's available today, we talked about the whole thing a few episodes ago about social media, right? And how everything is available right now because of everything is so quick. And, you know, it's all about being first or whatever. So to me, the whole thing about metadataing all these stats is part of that whole thing. How much information is going out there? Who is putting out what? How fast going out? Is it important? And if you have 10 sports fans, probably four of them, at least in football, four of them might be interested in the stats to know something to a certain point. Everybody just wants to know, did my team win or lose? And then you have the one or two guys that are just want to know, like, okay, well, what size jersey did he wear at the start of the season? What size jersey did he wear at the end of the season? Did he lose weight? Did he gain weight? Is he, did he become a vegan? Did he get lost at Whataburger? Whatever. So those kind of stats I think are interesting to a point if you can make them part of a larger picture, perhaps if you're comparing players or whatever. But the reality of it is, and I promise this is the end of the answer, when you look at how we even examine stats, we tend to be silly with everything. I apologize, I'm using professor words, my bad. We tend to put everything into its own little bucket and not connect it to something else, so then it becomes meaningless. You know, like if you take all the parts to a car and you stick it in a different garage, it means nothing. But if you put those parts together, now you have a gremlin, right? So I'm sorry, I don't make the rules. The 1970 Gremlins are the best cars ever made. It's in the Bible. Look it up. I don't make the rules. So, but to me, that's what these stats are. Unto themselves, meh, whatever. We sound like Joe Buck. Ugh, I'm sorry, I can't believe I said his name and didn't throw up. My bad. But if you put them in context of something, now they carry meaning. They might help to explain something to the person that perhaps might only care if my team won or lost. But if we say, well, you have this player right here, well, why they're so good? Well, this is why they're so good because they do
Yeah,
this and no one else has done this and blah, 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 whatever. So anyway, that's sort of my answer to your question. And hopefully I answered it relatively clearly.
yeah. Oh, I believe you did. If not, let us know in the comments, and we'll try and clear it up,
Please.
or he'll try and clear it up for you. But yeah, jumping ship a little bit. Still talking about sacks. Myles Garrett is on an absolute tear in his last 4 games.
Yep.
I was
Yep.
shocked when I saw that he has 18 sacks with 6 games left to go.
Mm-hmm.
He didn't start off super hot with the sacks, and I think that's probably why it wasn't really on my radar. But in the last 4 games, and I'm complaining about me saying, "Oh, what about these? He's done this in the last 4 games." It's pretty impressive what he's done. In the
Yeah,
last four
absolutely.
games, he has had 13 sacks, I believe. Yeah, 13 sacks. If we add in 5 games, 14 sacks. So in the last 5 games, he has had 14 sacks, which is
Wow.
pretty crazy. He had 5 against New England, which was a loss. And this is where it's a little frustrating for Myles Garrett. And I know he wanted the money, and that's all he really cared about this offseason. The
Mm-hmm.
Browns really seem to be wasting his talents right now. But he had 5 sacks in a loss to the Patriots, 4 sacks in a loss to Baltimore. They did beat the Raiders. He had 3 sacks. It's just he's absolutely dominating, right now. And we are 6 games left, and he needs five,
Yes.
five, I believe, to break the
Five,
record.
five, five, five or
Five or
five and a
five and a
half.
half. I can't remember if it's 22 and a half or 23. Um,
Right.
but yeah, it's mind-boggling, the numbers he has put up in those last 5 games, especially 5 sacks, 4 sacks, 3 sacks. 3 sacks alone is like, holy crap. I think Micah Parsons had 3 sacks last week, and he had
Mm-hmm.
2.5 this week.
2.5 today.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's just the ability that Myles Garrett has. Do you think that do you believe he has a realistic chance, one, to keep up what he has been doing the last 5 weeks, and two, to get those 5 more sacks in 6 games, or 5.5 sacks in 6 games?
Yes, and I'll tell you why, and I promise to make it quick. Yes, because I feel like he is one of those guys who has decided, or one of those players, I should say, not guys, because there's some ladies who play who have the ability to play like this too. If he made up his mind, I am on a team, and I'm not going to say fans can say this, and we can still be bashed for it. But if I'm on a team full of cats that are not to my caliber, and the team isn't playing to my caliber, and I think those losses speak more about what's happening on the offensive side than the defensive side. But he's the kind of player I can say, I am going to do X, and then can bend the game to his will to make it happen. So now the question is, will he get those games? Should he do it within the framework of 16 games or whatever, 15 games or 16 games? And then if he doesn't get it till the 17th game, does it really count? Does he get an asterisk? Is one of those things for this game, because, a lot of people forget, and I keep saying this only because he's my guy, but in a way, and not because of him playing for my team, or not because of something he did for somebody in my family. But Joe Namath was the first to pass for 4,000 yards in a 14. He was a 14-game season back when, if you passed the ball, there was chances you were going to be brought up on sedition charges, and that you might be deported to like Canada, or even worse, like Idaho. So, you know, um, and to me, of all the things that people talk about with Joe Namath, that's one of the things that people kind of leave out the story. And trust me, I'm making this about Myles Garrett. The fact that you have a player who's doing what he's able to do in the time frame he's able to do it, are we going to put asterisks by it because he doesn't do it? Much like when Roger Maris broke the home run record with the Yankees. He did it in 162 games as opposed to 161 games like Babe Ruth has set the record for. And I know I'm going down a rabbit hole of like when stuff happened things. But so for our fans out there, those nerds I was talking about earlier that like want to know about the guy's jersey side at the start of the season versus end of the season. That has a whole thing about weight and nutrition and health, by the way, that most of us won't care about. But these guys do. They would care about how many games and how many minutes within a game something was done, because they're the ones that would make an issue while you walk away from them and leave them in their auntie's basement when they're trying to get on, YouTube to try to see if the 1912 Negro League NFL championship is available yet. So
Yeah.
And I know I'm being harsh about it, and I apologize for doing that, because I think there's a place for it, right? But again, answer your question. Yes, I believe that he does have what it takes to do it, because I think, despite of what's happening on that defensive team and what's happening on the team in general, he can bend the game to his will. And then, yes, I do believe that for your second question, I think that there is enough stress fatigue on the other side of the line, and the way he moves around with the teams that he has left to play, that he's going to be able to, even though they're going to key for him, he can still have the success he has. Because I cannot imagine a single offensive meeting from the NFL to the Canadian Football League to if they have the World Football League again. Even if you're not playing against him, you're going to say, okay, we got to watch for this guy right here, because he might show up, and next thing you know, your quarterback's in a coma. So, it's just hard to imagine people not paying attention, still doing what he's doing, especially right now.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's going to take a lot in my opinion, for him to not break the record this season. But I don't know if he doesn't break it this season. I don't know when the next time we will see it. And I feel like the defensive records are going to be less likely to be broken as we go on, despite them having more games, because of how offensive friendly it is getting. So the fact that he has been able to rack up these numbers of stats over the last 5 games, again, a 5, 4, 3, and 2, 1 sack games, the fact that those haven't been called back for whatever penalty is going to get called on the
defensive holding,
offense, anything,
uh,
defensive
uh,
holding, and nothing to do with him. Just
pass interference.
yeah,
Somebody's feet smell funky on the line. Somebody, whatever. You're right. I mean, it's something. Bob, I have a scratch on my chest from college ball
prove it.
from
I'm
a
just kidding. I'm just
cornerback.
kidding.
Hey, now, this isn't OnlyFans yet. From a cornerback that would basically mug everybody he guarded, right? And he managed to get his hand under my shoulder pads, because back in the day we had real shoulder pads where the shoulder pads came down to the middle of your stomach. And he managed to get his hand up in there trying to pull me back, right? Nothing was called. And he scratched, I actually was bleeding from it. Nothing was called. Today, if he looked at me funny, flag goes out, defensive pass interference, cornerback, googly eye on a wide receiver, 15 yards, automatic first down. It's so different now. I mean, just go back and look at, I'm telling you guys, go back and look at Lester Hayes for I believe the Raiders. And not only did he wear a stickum where, kind of like that scene from, which is actually based on true events, The Replacements with Keanu Reeves. That's actually based on a real story.
Great movie, by the way.
It is. And by the way, I know a guy who was a cheerleader for the team. He was a male cheerleader for that team. And he said most of the stuff that happened that season, they couldn't even put on air. But anyway, but Lester Hayes with the stickum on his hands and the way he guarded cats, he would be doing 45 to 70 right now in some Supermax, because it's just, man, it was different back then. It's not the way it is now. So you're absolutely right. Something that's not his fault could actually ruin him actually getting a sack.
Yeah, I'll even use as an example, whenever I was in high school, 07, 08, one of my go-to moves was a forearm to the chin to the offensive lineman. I never got called. Not one time in my 3 years playing high school football, sophomore, junior, senior year, did I ever get called for putting my forearm in that chin. I knocked a kid's helmet off one time, did not get called. But also, I mean, unlike the NFL where they're refs on the side, but lawyers full time. I mean, these guys are probably just, they're all retired and retired. So they weren't calling nothing. But yeah, so Myles Garrett sack record going to get broken. Well, that's where we're at. Let's go. Topic number two, Wade Rose. Thank you for the topic. He wants us to talk about the Detroit Pistons win streak, which has now ended at 13, and how it happened. I want to kind of make this a little bit of a broader topic, and how have the Pistons even gotten to where they are right now? Because for me, I do want to start first, because for me, they haven't done it the way that I would expect you to build a team.
Right.
They haven't stuck to that, like the Detroit Lions. They were sticking with Dan Campbell. They made the decision. Dan Campbell is our coach, and we're going to go through those growing pains. Dolphins didn't care too much about that, and now they should be shooting them, or they did shoot themselves in the foot. The Pistons went through, since they've drafted Cade Cunningham, I believe they've gone through 3 coaches. They're on Bickerstaff now. Monty Williams. I can't remember who. I feel like an idiot because I just saw it a little bit ago. I can't remember who their coach was whenever Cade Cunningham was drafted, but they have not stuck with the coach, which usually those teams that perpetually go through coaches aren't the ones that are going to be successful. And the Detroit Pistons have just, they're a shock to me this season, because I don't know how they went on that 13-game win streak. Cade Cunningham threw up, 48 shots the one game, and had 46 points or something. Like, yes, he had 46 points, but the fact that it took 48 shots, I would not expect them to win that game, because it was not an efficient game. It was a very messy game. Things have just worked out for them extremely well, but they do have a solid core that they have kept around. Cunningham, Stewart. They brought in Tobias Harris, which people were like, the Sixers are just dumping it. Like, the Sixers traded Tobias Harris for Paul George, and they looked stupid for it. not and not
100% read that
not
right.
actual. And I'm saying not necessarily traded as in they physically traded him, but like they said, here's Tobias Harris, we're going to sign Paul George. Um,
Right.
but Tobias Harris was a baller. I mean, he's always been a baller. And for whatever reason, when he was with the Sixers, they expected so much more from him, but he was never the guy. He was never the second guy. He really wasn't even the third guy for that team. But
Correct.
because of the amount of money that they gave him, they expected more out of him. But it all worked out for some of the younger players for the Sixers. Maxey is doing amazing. Um, but yeah, I mean, Tobias Harris, that leadership, that veteran leadership that he has brought to that team, and I believe he's the third leading scorer on that team right now, that helps out tremendously. And I just think that I don't. Is it luck? There's always some luck in those streaks. There is always
Oh
going to
yeah,
be
of
some
course.
luck, but there's still skill. They're still NBA players. They still made it to the league for some reason. They still have a lot of talent. I just don't know how the Pistons have been able to put it together again because there has not been stability there since I I don't even know when Avery Johnson wasn't even there for that long. Whenever he was
No,
successful with them,
no,
and
no.
Larry Brown was gone after 2 or 3 seasons, and he was like it. There's been no consistency for a long, long time for the Detroit Pistons, but for some reason this season just seems to be their season.
Okay, so okay, quickly, here's how I feel about it, and I don't know, and I'm trying to make this unugly as possible because I have a really soft spot in my heart for the Pistons, even though the reason I have a soft spot for the Pistons, he's now working with the New Orleans Pelicans. Most of the guys that the Pistons have right now, either starting or going into contract seasons, because we know how it works in the NBA, right? So they're balling to prove something.
Mm-hmm.
And at the early part of the season, a lot of teams play on cruise because in their minds, their season doesn't really start until we start kicking into January, February. So you start getting this mentality of let's maintain load management, whatever words you want to use. Let's maintain something in the positive score column until we get into January, February. Then, as soon as the college football season is over with, all of a sudden now our season kicks in as we lead into March Madness, getting ready to go to our playoff run. That's my take on it. I'm not saying I'm right on any level. That's just how it feels like it's happening. And the other thing about what happened with the Pistons right now, and what my brother Bob is talking about, you can bring in a coach that's supposed to change everything, and they change it. Okay, so let's say they come in, the team is not doing well. They come in and they make a huge impression. By all of a sudden, there's a winning season the very next season. Okay, and then the season after that, it's a down season. Then people start looking crookwise. You start getting the side eye, and all those other things start to happen. And then by season three, that person's gone. So what did that first season mean? Did it mean that people were just planning to get out of there? There's so many other things that you can put into that. But meanwhile, as a coach, he got credit for turning the team around. The team wasn't really turned around. They just happened to have a season, lightning in a bottle, so to speak, which is another phrase people misuse all the time. But lightning in the bottle, whatever, whatever. Meanwhile, the teams that stick with the coach that builds a culture where the coaching staff, the middle management, the front office, the ownership, they're all working very symbiotically with each other, and they build a culture. So you can move one player here and there, and when that player comes in, there's a certain way you do things. Like if you notice, there's certain baseball teams, the players will not wear their shades across the logo of their hat because that team says, no, 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 no. Turn your shades around. Your logo is always going to show. No, don't turn your hat backwards. Things like that. You go to certain football teams, you notice not everyone wears the towel that's hanging between their legs down past their knees because there's certain teams now that have been successful for a long time, and there's a culture, and you're going to learn that culture when you come in it. Whereas other teams have a bunch of free agents, so to speak. And I'm bringing it back to the Pistons with this. Part of my thought about what's happening is at the start of the season, with so many teams playing in cruise ball, they were able to maintain their and I'm going to call it messy ball. But if you win, who cares, right? If they end up winning a championship this year, imagine what people are going to talk about that 13 game winning streak and what it meant, right? So the fact that they were able to play their game as inconsistent and ugly as it looked, oh no, as ugly as it looked, what does that really mean?
Yeah.
And
Yeah. And I don't want to say that this is a one-off season for them, because obviously we don't know
right,
what's going to happen next season, but they have, unfortunately for them, consistently shown us that they have not been able to be successful for an extended period of time.
exactly.
Um, so it's a wait and see. Again, I cannot explain their 13 game win streak. I cannot explain their season this season. Um, and it is hard. Sometimes the the coach comes in and gets the credit for turning a team around, but they didn't really put that work in yet to be able to turn that team around.
Right. Because that's
Um,
not the team yet. Because it's not the
yeah,
team yet. It is
it's
it
not.
is a version of the team.
Yeah,
You know what? It's almost like, and I apologize for cutting you off. It's almost like for those of you who are basically nerds and geeks like me, the difference between quantum physics and Newtonian physics, right? You know, you have your state of stuff that's happening, and a team that turns around their winning record in Newtonian physics, that becomes a new state of that team. Whereas in quantum physics, that is one possible state of that team, and you're going to find out what's going to happen as it goes on. I'm apologize for geeking out. I know we just lost about 75,000 viewers right there, but anyway, that's what it
yeah.
is.
I can literally feel my brain leaking out of my ears right now because I have
I'm
no.
sorry. I'm sorry.
Literally
I'm
leaking.
such a
I
nerd.
don't know. I didn't have enough. I already didn't have enough left, Maestro. You just took the
I'm
rest of my
sorry.
brains.
I
Which
apologize. I
please do not
apologize.
clip that. That was not a that was a terrible statement that I just made. Anyways, moving on. Detroit Pistons. Uh, we don't know what happened. We'll figure it out later.
Yeah. Yeah.
See if they can
Exactly.
keep it
Right.
up next season. But again, Wade Rose, appreciate your comment or appreciate your
Yeah.
question.
Awesome. Thank you, man.
Great,
Appreciate it.
love it.
Appreciate it so much.
Final
Appreciate
topic.
it so much.
Final topic. I do want to say, Maestro, we are for our for our purposes. We are doing a pretty good job on time. Let's see if we can't make this topic. Let's not make this topic 30 minutes.
I promise. I promise. I promise. Trust me.
So Kai Killen, shout out Kai, love you, man.
Kai.
Yeah,
CIA, bro.
he wanted to talk about Jameis Winston, taking a look at the longevity of Jameis Winston's career as the forever quarterback on failing teams, and how he continues to get opportunities to play at the highest level in the NFL. Maestro, I have a lot of things to say about that, but let you take that one off. What are your thoughts on Jameis Winston, his longevity, and how he continues to get opportunities despite maybe not being the most successful quarterback in the league?
So, Kai, great question. Just like Mr. Rose, awesome. Thank you for that previous. This is a great question too, and this is a statement to the work that you put in as a professional or as an athlete. Period. To do your homework. And then here's what I mean when I say that. Jameis Winston has played under a. I'm not even going to try to say the exact number because I'm going to get it wrong. Numerous offensive coordinators.
Yeah.
He has he and oh, by the way, going back to college too. So he's been in a multitude of systems. He's exhibited moments of physical success on every level that he's been on. Notice I said physical success and not mental success. I'm going to save that for 1 second. The idea that I can get a cat to come in. Think of a guy like Ryan Fitzpatrick, who played on, think so there's 32 teams in the league in the NFL, and he's played on 48 teams because I think he played on teams that used to wear leather helmets. So you get a guy, you get a guy who, and I know, and I get it. Fitzpatrick went to Harvard, whatever. But you get a guy that can do the homework, that can learn systems, that can digest systems quickly, then actualize it out on the field. That is a treasure, especially at quarterback. And I always had a feeling about quarterbacks, which is a whole nother episode, by the way, because I have an answer for the quarterback question in NFL. I really do. But it was only on right now only Bob will listen to me about it. So I need a cat. Would I like a cat that can throw the ball
Meow.
80 yards? Fine. Yes, fine. I would like a guy who can throw the ball from his knees 80 yards. But you know what I'd rather have? A cat that when I call in to play XYZ flat rumble 32 go, he can relate that to his team, know where everybody's job is, and he can close his eyes and throw the ball to a spot where his receiver's going to be if everybody handle their responsibilities. That's
Yeah.
what I would really rather have, and that's what offense would rather have. And oh, by the way, this is coming back to Jameis Winston now. Physically, he can do that. Yes, he's a personality. Yes, he does all those other things too. And no, pretty soon his act gets old. And I'm saying this act in a negative way. I'm just saying the way he is gets old because around grown men who get played, who get paid to play, and to be around a guy who is like Johnny Football. No offense to Johnny Football, even though I won't even call him Johnny Football. That is like, okay, dude, enough already. Let's go do our jobs. So that he's been in the league so long means he's kept himself at a physical level where he's able to play, right, and do what he needs to do. That the fact that he can digest so many different offenses so fast and be functional enough to give his team an opportunity to win speaks to his acumen and how it's grown over the years. And then lastly, and I'm gonna leave it right here. That's what I was trying to make it quick, and I apologize I didn't. Lastly, Jameis Winston, like Ryan Fitzpatrick, like Joe Flacco, like guys who I would almost say Geno Smith, but I don't want to. Guys who can go to other teams, maintain, allow the offensive coordinator and the team around the offensive coordinator the opportunity to maintain a certain level of performance to perform their packages. I can plug him in. No, he's not going to be so spectacular that he's going to make highlight reels every week, but he's going to be successful enough that we have an opportunity to win. And in the NFL, in a league where every game is a one-score game until it's not, that's what makes him so attractive to so many teams when they know they need to bring somebody in right now.
Yeah, because we look at his career, and truly, for a starting quarterback, he really hasn't. He should just be getting into his prime. 31 years
Mm-hmm.
old, 10 years in the league. But when you look at the fact that in his 10 years, when he has started, he's only had 2 seasons where he's had a winning record.
Mm-hmm.
He's 36-51 right now as a starting quarterback through the end of last season. He he's a
Can you
guy
put a
that
pin in
you
that statement for me, Bob? I'm sorry, keep going, but can you put a pin in that statement right there for me? Because I have a question to ask you about that.
I will. Um, Sometimes, and I always like to use Josh Johnson as an example.
Great,
He was
great
a
call.
guy who I think he again I've mentioned him before. I think he just retired last season, but he was a
Mm-hmm.
name that I would always see pop up, and I'm like, oh, he's still in the league. But it was I think I think he was in the league for like 15 years. He was never a starter. He was a career backup, but he was that
That
guy that you
one
knew
great
you
year.
could count on. He came in, he
He
worked
had that
out.
one great year with
Yeah,
Tampa.
yeah, yeah. He was a role model. You need those guys who are going to come in, keep the morale up, be a role model to the young guys, who's going to go in there and give 150% in practice
Mm-hmm.
to show them what is supposed to happen. Yes, that should be your starting quarterback, that should be your star players, but it's not always going to be. What this guy is showing, speaking Josh Johnson, is that you can have a long career in the NFL, not take a ton of hits, not take a ton of damage, make millions and millions of dollars, and you're still you're gonna be all right. Like he is the typical how do I want to say this? I don't want to say typical either. He's a role model. He
Yeah.
is the guy. That's what Jameis Winston at this point. I'm not going to say he's the role model, but he is the morale booster. He is that guy that is going to lift his teammates up, even if it seems like it is an act. I know you said you're not
Right.
saying it in a negative way, but like you said, some people's personas just get tiring to some people over time, and you can only take them in doses, small doses.
Hmm.
But that's Jameis Winston is that morale booster for the team, and every team needs that, especially bad teams. Especially bad teams. The last thing you want is Russell Wilson sitting over there moping on the bench
Oh
because you're
my God.
getting the
Sorry, I didn't
the crap
say it out
kicked
loud.
out of you, but then or you have Jameis Winston who's like, okay, yeah, you know what? We're still alive. We're still
Right.
living, and we're good.
Right.
Let's
Right.
just keep
Right.
fighting. So that is why those players stick around, even if they don't appear to be successful
Great
in
point.
the league. That is why they stick around. Yes, Jameis Winston, his touchdown interception ratio, I don't even want to. It's probably like 20 to 500. I'm just kidding. It's not, but he threw a ton of interceptions. He trusted
Yeah.
himself a lot. We loved Brett Favre for it, but we hated Jameis Winston for it. But regardless, you said stick a pin in that statement, talked about the record and everything. What'd you
Okay.
have to say,
So
Maestro?
okay, here. So let's think about teams that needed to call him in to take over as the starting quarterback. Think about where those teams were. They probably weren't in playoff contention and or putting themselves in a position to make a playoff run. So they might not have been doing that well to begin with. So you can bring in a guy like him to be positive no matter what was going on around him and stuff like that. Think about the places he played. He would have success for a little while and he would be that cheerleader. He would do what he needed to do. And all of a sudden, you know what? Dude's got to go. And I'm saying, and listen, okay. And here's what I mean when I said negative, because I really want to, I really don't want this to sound like I'm being judgmental of him in that way. I was a horrible teammate, Bob. I was a
Same,
horrible teammate.
same.
I I I I I pulled for my team. I pulled for my teammates. As a basketball player, I loved getting assists more than I love scoring points. I love taking charges more than anything else, but I love getting assists more than I love scoring points. As a baseball player, I love moving runners over. I love driving guys in. I love giving them an opportunity to steal and to hit and run. I love that. As a football player, as a wideout, I loved blocking. Oh my God, I loved putting my forearms in somebody else's spine through their chest and moving them over to the point where I would hang out with the linemen all the time to learn blocking techniques because it's not as easy as people think. But I wasn't the guy who, like, I would score a touchdown, I would hand the ball to the ref, I'd go sit down on the bench. I wouldn't be high fiving, no funny dances, no stuff like that. And my favorite player was Billy White Shoes Johnson. Okay, and he did so. But I wasn't the guy that was going to be in your face. I wasn't the guy at the start of the game that was in the cheer circle yelling and screaming because I felt this was our job. This is what we trained to do, and success was just the outcome of the work that we did. And I'm going to say this. I regret that I played the game that way because from the outside, it might have looked like I played joyless, and I did not. I really enjoyed playing, but I was just, to me, everything was a business trip. And that's not the way to play out. That's why I tell players don't be, when I was coaching, I would tell players don't be like me. Take the moment, actually enjoy it. Don't do what I did. So I'm saying that to say I can appreciate a Jameis Winston and what he does. That's why I said I'm saying it in a negative way because I think the way I played was negative. Not that I didn't like the game, not that that stuff. I didn't show a passion that I think the fans who come to see you play, your teammates that want to see you play, want to see that and feed off that. And in that aspect, I was probably more selfish because I thought us doing our job great should have been enough. So that's what I meant when I said that. And oh, by the way, the record
Well,
thing, to get back to it, look at who he was playing for, look at when he was playing for him.
well, you took that terrible teammate comment and went down a different path because now I have to really look like a bad teammate because I was saying it for I will self-label as a wasted talent. I was too big, too fast, too strong naturally for no reason. I'm not going to get too far off topic about this, but people can ask questions if they want. Um, I gave 150% on the field. I
Mm-hmm.
gave a nice negative 20% off the field. I was the worst in the weight room. I was the worst in summer workouts. I didn't go to summer workouts. They gave us a sheet of everything we needed to do in the weight room, and
Mm-hmm.
I did one and checked off three. That was just who I was. My
I see what you're saying.
motivation, yeah, my motivation wasn't very high. I needed pushed. I mean, I'm the opposite of some people. I think I needed somebody probably yelling at me and telling me this is what you need to do, not oh this is what we think you should do, or
Right,
oh
right,
will
right.
you please, and no disrespect to any of my coaches. I get it. We were kids, and I mean it was a time where I think things were starting to shift, where in some places parents were siding with their kid versus when their kids did something wrong instead of disciplining them. Um, but it was you tell me what I'm going to do. You're the coach. I'm the kid. If you want me
Right,
to play offensive line, you tell me you're playing offensive line, or you're not touching the field. You don't
right.
ask me to play. So it was like I was a terrible teammate, and I know that I let down a lot of people in high school, and it is why I didn't. I mean, I did redshirt in college my freshman year. I did leave school and returned and attempted to play, but the NCAA is a joke, and it was.
Yeah.
I just want to say the
That's a
NCAA
whole
is a
nother
joke.
show.
That's a
That's a whole show
whole
by
another
itself.
show. But yeah, I do want to apologize. I've done it before, but I do apologize to everybody that I ever played football with, because I did not put in half the effort that the people behind me on the depth chart put in, and I still started. I was still there because just naturally I was talented.
Right.
Call me Jamarcus Russell. Call me Jamarcus Russell of high school, because that's why I didn't put the work in, but
Yeah.
it was handed to me because I had the
Because you
natural
were so
talent.
good. Because you were so good.
I just
And see
I don't
and
even
see
want to
someone
say
like
I was
me.
good. I was just big and fast for
Well,
my
but hey, look,
size.
wait. Well, we're good for where you are. I mean, I love the meeting rooms. I was sitting on every meeting, even on squads I wasn't a part of. Like I was sitting in defensive meetings. I love watching film. I love studying film. I love going in the weight room. I love watching. I love the process. I love everything that we did, except I did not give back the energy my teammates were giving me. And that's what I mean when I say I was a bad teammate. I just,
you, you,
guys, this is our job. Let's go.
you said you loved the meetings. You loved film and everything. I remember sophomore year getting kicked out of film room because I was not taking it seriously. I could
That's
have
so
done.
funny because I would get kicked out because they would say, "Hey, you're not on this squad." Because I'd be down in the front row. I'd be down in the front row like I was on the squad. So I would leave, and then when they would start, I'd come and sit in the back.
But yeah, anyway, yeah. Anyways, I again, yeah, I apologize to all my teammates because I know I could have been better, and I know I disappointed a lot of them. But anyways, Jameis Winston,
Yes,
he motivator. He's a motivator.
yes,
He's a morale
yes.
booster. He
Mm-hmm.
does his job, and
Mm-hmm.
I checked my phone real quick because I wanted to see what his actual touchdowns and interceptions were. We really blow out of proportion just how many interceptions he has. He has a lot. Like, I'm not. He's
Yeah.
like, Jameis, stop it. Stop throwing the ball to the other team. He did have that 30 for 30 season.
Yes, he
He had that
did.
30 for 30 season. But I think it was like 154 to 111. Hey, Beth,
No.
it could be worse. Could be worse.
And by the way, look at the divisions he played in, and look at the defensive back. He played at the height of those defensive backs that not only knew how to read your eyes, but were fast enough to bait quarterbacks of lesser acumen into bad throws. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, like, okay. So his 30 for 30 season. Please correct me if I'm wrong. Was he was with Tampa, correct?
I feel like
That was,
I think his 30 for 30 was with the Saints.
okay, same division, right? Same division when it was just cornerback.
I apologize. You were correct. It was 33
Oh wow.
and 30. It was Tampa Bay. It was his last.
Okay,
I thought it was his first season in New Orleans. It was actually his last season in Tampa Bay.
so the same NFC South. cornerback heavy. I mean, heavy, where these cats were all just monsters. They hit hard. They were faster than safeties. And so you get a quarterback like him in there. And then look at the defensive coordinators when his last year in Tampa, the defensive coordinators that were there, almost all of them have been head coaches twice by now, right?
It does feel like Tampa goes through like all their coaches are head coaches at some point, but they can never put it together.
right. See, so and please, oh, by the way, if you guys are still with us on this, please fact check. Especially fact check me all the time. I need it. I need it because I'm sitting here just pulling stuff out the corner of my rabbit hole that I have no idea. Oh, well, I'm gonna talk about this. This got dust on it. But I mean, look at defensive coordinators that were around his last season, and look at how tough those teams were. I mean, that wasn't the year that the Saints had the bounty gate thing going on, but I think it would have been either right before or right after where the whole thing of their defensive coordinator put bounties out on players. So
it was after, because let's not talk about that because that ruined my Vikings 2009 season. Thank you very much. Let's not. But yeah, it was Greg Williams.
Greg Williams.
Yeah, it was Greg Williams.
So just think about how monstrously difficult those NFC South defenses were, and those are the guys he played twice a year. So 30 for 30 there, give it to him.
Yeah. So even just looking real quick, the defensive coordinator for the Saints, who did win the division that year, they were 13-3, was Dennis Allen, who not too long after that got his opportunity as a head coach. Didn't go over as well as he would have liked, but he did get that opportunity. But yeah, I mean, it is. We like to, again, we pick and choose when somebody is playing bad. We pick and choose when to hold them accountable and when to hold other people accountable. I'm not saying, I mean, he threw 30 interceptions. They weren't not all his fault, but they weren't all his fault, but they weren't
not
all his fault, but they weren't all not his fault. Something like that.
Right.
My English teacher would kill me. I don't know. I mean, she probably wanted to kill me anyways. I did terrible. But yeah, it was
negative, baby.
Yeah, it's not all his fault, and he is talented. He has his floor is higher than a lot of other backup ceilings, and I think that's what we really have to look at. Is it's not necessarily that he's sticking around. He's bad, but he's sticking around for a reason. He's so much better than probably 25, 27 of the other backups in the league. He's probably better than a handful of starting quarterbacks in the league right now. I sure as heck would take, right in this very moment, if I wanted the Vikings to be successful, I would take Jameis Winston as my starting quarterback right now. Because there's a lot of growing pains with J.J. McCarthy. Vikings fans, stop it. Do not give up on him. This is technically his rookie year. He was hurt all last season. It is going to take some time. Yeah, the Jets, I mean, you got...
I didn't say anything.
J.J. McCarthy, he needs 2 full seasons, unless he's just so atrocious. Look at Carolina and Bryce Young.
Oh, yeah.
Everybody was ready to give up on Bryce Young after his first season.
Too small, arms not big, yada, blase, blah, blah, blah.
They were losing. They go and blow up the team, send McCaffrey to the 49ers. And it's like, but now he is helping that. They traded away his safeguard, Adam Thielen, at the beginning of the season because the Vikings needed some wide receiver help. And he is thriving down there right now for that team. He's doing so much better than what people expected. But you have to get. I'm going off on a tangent on J.J. McCarthy, and we're about to hit an hour when we promised we promised we were going to keep it short.
We promised to keep it short. And you know what? And I just got triggered again because I promise I'm going to make this. I'll make this 20 seconds. Jameis Winston reminds me of Drew Bledsoe or Vinny Testaverde.
Yes,
I love those two. I love those two guys. The quarterback, that really big arms. They're Bledsoe might not have had the big personality, but they were always an untimely interception away from ruining your
Yeah.
season. Both of those.
Yep.
And oh, by the way, Vinny Testaverde to this day, I'm just going to say this, get this out of the way. Of the cats that I've seen, with the exception of Curtis Martin, of cats that I've seen one-on-one doing their thing, Vinny Testaverde to me is probably one of the most impressive human beings that, well, maybe next to Rock Reigns, that I've ever been around, in terms of a guy that I would just look at him in street clothes and say, I want you to be my quarterback or whatever you want to play. So that being said, unfortunately, just like when he played for Miami, I believe, untimely interception away from a championship there. Same time in his pro career, Bledsoe gets championship credit under Brady, so to speak, even though he was a starter, and then Mo Lewis basically ripped out his heart, lung, and spleen on that sideline hit, and then Tom Brady comes in. But those guys, as impressive as they are, as smart as they are, as good as they are, I'm not saying are, just that one untimely interception away, and that's Jameis Winston to me without the smarts. Oh, that came out bad. I need to figure out a way to say that better. But you know what I mean.
So, yeah. I do want to give you a shout out. Shout out to the last time that Penn State won a national championship, tying in that last episode when Penn State took down Vinny Testaverde's Miami team. Shout out, shout out. Because that was when they came off of that's when they came off with the military fatigues and everything.
Fourth quarter interception on a drive coming down, 2 minutes and 48 seconds left. It looks like Miami was going to really come in and take, and nope.
No.
And please fact check me on that time. I think it was 2 minutes and 48 seconds. Someone's going to know the right time.
Well, here we go. Maestro, I love talking to you, man. We have a great time. I apologize. We apologize to everybody that might still be listening. Because I know we love you guys.
So sorry.
We just, it's squirrel moments constantly. You give us one topic, we're going to figure out 30 different things to talk about. Kai, Wade, I don't know if we really answered your guys' questions today. I know we danced around it at least. Maestro, do you have any final words for the people on this fine Thanksgiving Day on the episode that's going to post up the day after?
For everybody who is taking time out of your life, with all that's going on right now, to take the time to listen to us ramble, thank you. For everybody who is, thank you. Just thank you. It's so appreciative for a couple of guys almost in their underwear. I'm going to leave that right there. Getting a chance to talk to you, that you guys would even ask any questions. It means a lot. It really does, because there's so many other things you can do. There's so much stuff. There's 158 billion channels right now, and there's nothing on for a lot of people. It's the fact that you guys even take any time to listen to us. I just want to say thank you. I can't even say it enough. I'm starting to tear up, so I'm going to
stop. And we appreciate you guys. Maestro, I appreciate you. I hope everybody has a great rest of their week.